Before I start off, I'd like to thank Sharon for this opportunity. She actually invited me through Twitter to speak about financial minimalism, and I'm really excited about this topic as part of the well-being module. And I think the work that Women Engineering is doing is amazing, and the fact that they are equipping you guys with these tools will help you guys a lot in the future. I asked her, Sharon, I'm neither an engineer nor am I a female, so can I even talk about this topic? And she said, yes, I can. There's not a problem, so I'm just happy to be here. Money is a human thing. You're born, and then in primary school you get some pocket money that you can use at the shop, and then later on in high school you might get an odd job to do, like you become a waitress or waiter or whatever it might be. And then you leave school or you go to university, and then you start your first job, and then you work with money. So all of us have worked with money. And so I think that's why it's such a universal topic. And so I think I hope this talk can bring a bit of value to you for your financial journeys. So welcome. I've been asked to speak about financial minimalism, and it's such a big word, financial minimalism. What exactly is it? Now, the phrase minimalism has been defined, and I googled the word in art. It might be something like there's minimalist art that looks quite funky, and then there's minimalist furniture as well, very clean lines and whatnot. But minimalism in its everyday definition, the buzzword that, if you're called a minimalist, it's really about defining what you value, and then making sure that and keeping away the distractions that you've decided to value in your life. So you've identified what's important to you, and then you've removed the things that's not. And so that's exactly what what minimalism is about. But financial minimalism is doing things that is meaningful to you in your career and in your side hustles, and then managing what you earn in a way that aligns to what you've determined to be your values in your life. And also in that way, in the way that you earn your money and you spend your money and you manage your money, that you are making tomorrow better for yourself, and not just for yourself, but for the people around you as well. So that is the introduction. One of the first goals that you'll do when you decide to become a minimalist is you go throughout your house and you open the cupboards, you open the kitchen drawers, you open that drawer that the second drawer in your kitchen, that's all your stuff is just clumped in there, and you look at what's happening there. You open the medicine cabinet, you look at all the medicines, and you see a lot of the stuff has expired. You open your clothing cupboards, and there's just a lot of clothes. There's stuff that's still there from your high school days, from your primary school days. And the first thing in minimalism is you go around your house and you see, what do I have? What's everything? How much clutter do I have? How much things do I own? You become acutely aware of what's going on in your house. And in the same way, you must become aware of what goes on in your financial life. What insurances do I have? So what does my bank statements look like? Where do I spend the most of my money? Where do I spend the most of my time? Where does my income come from? All those type of things. So you look at your whole financial picture. You literally take a mirror, point it to yourself, and you look, what do I look like? Am I fit? Am I unfit? Do I feel healthy? Do I feel unhealthy? And it's about awareness. So that's the ABC of financial minimalism. And so we're starting with A. Then you decide, okay, so what is the most important? What do I want to keep? What do I value? My story begins quite early. I was only 2 years old, and my dad wasn't very aware of what he valued, what's important to him. And so because he placed me and my mom at the time at a fairly low place in his life, he decided to walk away. He was not in my life for 23 years. And so he decided what he valued. It wasn't me or my mom. And also you can see that when you decide to manage your money that way, that there was barely anything. And that caused me, my mom, my grandparents to move down to Mossel Bay and start a life over there. But really finding that making the things that's truly important to you, making them priority in your life, and when they're priority, your money affairs will reflect that. So when I was growing up in primary school, my mom was dating this boyfriend, and he had an alcohol problem. Money was a struggle, and we struggled quite a lot. The one day, we could only buy a little bit of KFC for like a weekend, but we always stopped at the bottle store, and he bought quite a lot of wine for the house, but there wasn't really money for food. And so I confronted him the one day. I asked him, but why is there money for food, but there's not money for why is there money for alcohol, but there's not money for food? And he was like dumbfounded. And so he valued alcohol above food, above keeping his family fed. And in such a way, there's a saying, show me what your budget looks like, and I'll show you what you value in your life. And so it's just about becoming aware of what's going on in your financial life. There's a saying of Dale Carnegie that says, don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's rooftop when your doorstep is full of it. So the first step in tackling financial minimalism is cleaning your room. It's making a list of your priorities, checking out what do you have, what is unnecessary, what is necessary, what's most important, and then you list that from the biggest to the smallest items. Bravery. Now you need to go and kill the dragon. The bravest step to do the next obvious thing, is to look at your finances and then decide what's unnecessary. What do I need to cut out? What do I need to focus on? The way I'm currently spending my money, is that fitting the narrative of where I want it to go? Another way that I like to put it is, will the future you benefit from the way the current you is spending their money? Now, I remember when I received my first salary, I really wanted to move out of a house. It was January 2009, a couple of years ago. And I really wanted to move out of a house. And my grandfather said, okay, in order to move out of a house, you will need to draw up a budget. And you'll need to list the items from small to large, the rent, where's all that money going to come from? And I needed to make changes. I needed to be brave. I needed to kill the dragon. I needed to make sure, okay, as long as my income is more than expenses, I can safely move out of a house. And in March 2009, I got that right on a salary of 3,500 Rand a month. And so that's where it really started for me, is I was able to make that move because of the sacrifice I made, because of that brave step that you take, is to make the sacrifices necessary that allows you to move that one step further in life. I remember a year into living in the flat, I really wanted to buy a guitar, and this guitar was about 1,600 Rand, and like I said, my salary was only about 3,500 Rand, but I decided to do that, and anyway, I decided to buy the guitar. And at that point, my want for a guitar was quite high on my value list, and I just decided to buy it. And yes, for 2 months, my flatmate and I, we did struggle to get by, but I don't regret it to this day. So there are things that you can do and have fun with your money, honestly. If you're a spender, so a lot of us are on the spectrum of if spender is at a 10 and saver is at 0, so it's a spectrum from 0 to 10. If you're at 10, if you enjoy spending and all your money is gone by the end of a month, you should learn to become a saver. You should learn to, cut back a bit. If you're a saver and you almost spend no money, hopefully you can teach yourself to spend a bit of money, to give yourself a bit of leeway. And so that would be the next step, is to be brave. Take that leap, take the change that you need to make, and figure out, what do I need to sacrifice in order to move forward in my finances? What do I need to cut in order to make sure that I'm not spending more than I earn, and to manage the debt a bit better if you have that? Obviously, next in the alphabet is C, and this is about consistency. In finances, we talk about oven solutions, not microwave solutions. Microwave solutions are anything from winning the lotto, become financially free tomorrow, win the lotto, go gamble, and get rich quick schemes. So there'll be none of that. Clean your room, you've killed the dragon, and now you're dragging the dragon back home, and you're going to prop it into the oven, and it's going to stay there. But the thing is, don't open the oven door. And you need to keep that. You need to keep the oven. You need to keep the oven door closed and be consistent. And what do I mean by that? The last year, I didn't create any really YouTube videos, and I was fairly consistent last year between the months of September and December, but then I stopped completely making any videos, and really my YouTube channel suffered for it. But now I started becoming consistent again, but now also with consistency, growth happens much quicker. So the point is this: if you decide to be consistent in your finances and you are making a surplus, but you decide to consistently put about maybe 10, maybe 15% of your income aside, maybe towards debt, or maybe to build your emergency fund, or towards an investment goal that you might have, but you do that consistently on a month-to-month or week-to-week basis, then you reach your goals much quicker than trying to say, I'm going to save this month, and then the month goes by and you spend your money the way you want, and then there's nothing left to spend. And then there's nothing left to save. And so getting into the habit of doing consistently, looking at your budget, or maybe your spending plan, that is what you prefer, and doing your budgeting consistently, putting the 10% of your income aside, like I said, either for debts or for your emergency fund or a financial goal that you have, and being consistent with that will definitely get you to your goals, and will help you to reach your goals much quicker. I remember we were trying to save for our wedding, and our wedding was, I think our budget was about 100,000 Rand. And for about 6 months, I was cutting almost all the expenses possible. It was quite hectic, and I tried to make extra income where I could. I was selling this and selling that, and I was trying to scrap by extra money to throw towards the wedding budget. And I did that consistently for a couple of months. My contribution actually, I felt like I made quite a decent contribution. But if I had not been consistent, if I didn't make that a goal to be there, I don't think I would have reached that. And so again, if we look at that value structure, for me, the wedding was quite high, and so other things was pushed down to the list, and so that was where my financial focus was. The big thing is making sure that your consistencies is according to what you value. That will be really important in your financial journey of becoming financially independent, or financially free, however, whatever phrase you prefer using. The final letter that we are going to look at is determination. And it's this idea of this is a lifelong journey. Finances is going to be part of your life, your whole life basically. And what you do with your money, there's a saying I quite like is, money is like a brick. You can use that brick and throw it into a house, breaking the window, or you can use that brick to build a house. So how you use your money in the long term, where you categorize it in terms of your values. When I was working at I think it was my second job, I really wanted to buy a car. My fiance at the time was like, you want to buy a car with debt? I was like, yeah. And then she sent me like a scripture that I needed to take a look at, and I found this guy called Dave Ramsey. I realized, whoa, I would have gone into debt to buy this car, and a car, you usually paid off over 5 to 7 years. And when you buy a new car, it depreciates so quickly that in the first 3 months, it loses almost 40% of its value. And also there is such high interest rates on car payments that it's almost financial suicide. And the other thing is, I did have a vehicle. I had a nice like a Nissan Forerunner Champ, nice bucky, so I had that, and I also used the public transport. I was traveling with Metro Rail back and forth, and so I didn't need the Mini Cooper. I really wanted to buy the Mini Cooper. She did swayed me not to buy the Mini Cooper. But after discovering Dave Ramsey, I decided, hey, maybe there's some changes that I needed to make. And so I needed to kill some dragons that I had. And one of my dragons I needed to deal with was the debt problem. And so I had some credit cards that I needed to pay off. I had a Markham's clothing account. So I had debt, and I was determined to become debt-free by the time we got married. And so I tried my best, making extra income, doing what I can, cutting what I needed to, and then throwing all that money towards the debt and getting that debt paid off. And I'm very privileged to be in this space currently, because we've been married for a couple of years. We've been debt-free ever since. And really, that's what it took. It took determination. This is it's a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to get there in the next day. A lot of life goals, a lot of financial goals do take time, from at least 3 to 5 years, even longer. Some of you guys might have, guys and girls might have maybe student loans that you need to pay off once you're done studying. And so being determined to reach those goals and not losing focus of the ideas that you have to do. So in order to pull this all together, so we're just going to go back. In order to be A, aware, B, brave, C, consistent, and D, determined to finish this, I'm going to walk you through the quick step of minimalism around the house. So the first step is obviously you open your cupboards, you see what's there, and then you must be brave. So that was first step, aware. Become aware of what you have and what's important to you. B, you must be brave. Now you must literally go through everything that you've taken out and decide, what do I want to keep? What is important to me? So important, so valuable to you that you do not want to give this to somebody else who can maybe value it a bit more. Maybe you identify things that you want to sell, and maybe you identify stuff that you just want to throw away and completely get rid of. And so that's the step of being brave, is going through your bank statements and looking, whoa, where is my money going? What am I doing? What can I cut out? What do I need to be brave with? What sacrifices do I need to make? C, being consistency. Now, keeping that up. Now you've cleaned your house, you've removed all the clutter in your in the kitchen, in the office, in that cupboard that you never open, and now you need to keep it that way. It's the same thing with finances. It's this idea of you kind of keep on doing your budgeting, and you must keep it fun for you as well. Just with minimalism, there's this idea that people that are minimalists are like only have like one fork or a couch maybe, and you hear of these globetrotters that only have 50 items in their backpack and they move across the world. And yes, there are minimalists, but they're a form of minimalists. My wife and I, we are kind of family minimalists. So we've got a son and we're married, and so we have things that's important to us and that we value. But mainly the things in our house is what we want, and we also have fun, and that's the thing. I'm into computers, so I like to upgrade my computer from time to time. I like to buy books and maybe computer software or games or music. Don't lose sight of the things that you enjoy just because you're on this financial journey. You don't want to burden yourself and feel like you are shackled behind and you can't do anything with your money. And so this must be also a fun journey. And so finally, you are consistent, you keep this up, and now it's just being determined to reach the goals. Let's say you have decluttered your house. Maybe now you want to declutter your commitments. Maybe there are too much things going on in your life and you want to reduce them a little bit. Maybe there's five or six social things that you're a part of. Maybe you can cut out the one that isn't that important or that doesn't align with your values as much as you wanted to. Maybe cutting out these toxic relationships that you might have in your life. And it's the same thing in your finances, finding those cutouts. If you spend, for example, this is just an example, if you spend 2,000 Rand on entertainment, maybe you can cut that down to about 1,500 Rand a month, or maybe 1,000 Rand a month, just to make it a bit more manageable. And so there's this idea that in minimalism, it's not just about decluttering, but it's finding out, can I declutter my time? Am I managing my time really well? Am I managing what's going on in my thinking that well? And so that is really, when you look at your financial goals, is, okay, you are consistent with your budget, but what is your investments looking like? And so just some practical ideas is the financial minimalism idea or framework that I've got really fits into two categories. The one on the left being financial security, and then on the right hand side we've got financial freedom. And under financial security, the idea is to become debt free and paying off all your personal debts if you have, and also to build an emergency fund that is big enough, 3 to 6 months of your expenses. That's the average that's suggested by financial advisors. And so that gives you financial security. Then you are secure, you are sorted out, and you are ready for personal growth. And then financial freedom is also about you and your personal growth. But there you are really looking at multiple income streams. Also, you can do the multiple income streams as part of financial security, but you are looking at income streams of ways that you can include passive income, doing extra things to bring in that extra income so that you can build income in such a way, or assets in such a way, that will eventually pay you money. So making money on the money that you've put away and building your investments. Also under financial freedom is stuff like family goals. So if you've got a son or a daughter, you might want to put away money for their education, whatever the case may be. And so there is this idea of growing, personal growth, and then also contributing to your family and to society. I want to close this off by giving an example. So in the beginning of the talk, I was talking about my dad, and I did meet him eventually when I was 25 years old, 23 years later. But he didn't instill these values in me. The person that did was my granddad. He was able to, he was one of the financial minimalists that I knew in my life. He lived in such a way that there was money for the kids, and not just money for the kids, but money for the grandkids as well. If it wasn't for the sacrifices that he made in his life, I don't think I would have been in the position that I am in today. I am privileged and blessed and all the synonyms you can think of. And really my goal and my hope for you all is that you can reach a point in your life that you can leave a legacy. You can leave something behind if you do that, but you will do the world a favor. So the idea is to make not just today better, but to make tomorrow better, to make the future better. But that is my wish for you. I wish that you learn to manage money in a way that not just you will have a great future, but the people that comes after you. Again, thank you for this opportunity to speak to the students of women engineering. I hope you've enjoyed this talk, and all the best. Cheers.